final table of the PokerStars Championship main event continues here at the Sortis Hotel Spa and Casino in Panama City. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Panamania continues with me, James Hartigan, and Matt Broughton.
Hello, everybody. Tito did touch me for an inordinate amount of time on the arm. I think I might be pregnant with his children.
So here we are with 4 players remaining just before the break. Harpreet, Gill from Canada doubled up through chip leader Denis Timofeev from Russia. So we still have 4 players. They're reasonably evenly stacked. Certainly no one is at immediate risk of domination or elimination. The blind's currently 25,000, 50,000 with a 5,000 ante as we get this next level underway. Hello to everyone at home who is watching. If you have just joined us on PokerStars TV, we are having to do things a little bit differently today. There is a saying we have in these parts, hey, it's Panama. And because it's Panama, we are on delay as well today. So the words you were hearing were spoken 45 minutes ago. As such, we don't read your tweets, we don't see comments on Twitch until many minutes after they've been sent. Do appreciate that this was a technical necessity and by no means is the norm and doesn't mean that we are changing the way we will do things from future stops.
Don't panic. Yeah, as the conversation between Joe and James earlier on, we had a choice. We either brought you the cards up coverage, but we have to suffer the delay, or we could be in the same timeline as you, but it's card down. And we just get the feeling that most of the comments we get, people would rather have at least this one day of cards up coverage, even if it is with this delay. I'm still going to try and do a competition. I'm just going to set a timer on my watch for 45 minutes, and then I'll look at your entries on Twitter. We'll come to that in a minute.
So first hand back from the break, first hand of the new level, folded to the small blind, Kenny Smaron, raising with the ace-4. Chip leader Denis Timofeev has king 7 in the big, and he folds. So we've got to know these players over the last few days. Kenny Smaron is an American, originally from Philadelphia in the US. He does mainly divide his time now between Costa Rica and Colombia, so he can play online, and obviously he plays a lot live as well. Has had some decent results, winning the 10K high roller in Prague back in 2015.
So pretty, the ace-8 in hearts.
You did say, Matt, that you have an idea for a competition and an idea of how you can make it work. Christopher Bean asks on, oh, hang on a second.
Oh, hold on.
Ace-8 under the gun, ace-queen for Denis Timofeev in the small blind. He calls. Let's see if this is a 3-way hand.
Yeah, and of course this is the first time really that Gill has had enough chips that he doesn't have to think of about, you know, just getting it all in here. He can actually play this a bit deeper.
With Abdellatif calling as well, we go 3-way to the flop. And look at that. Second pair, top kicker for Timofeev. The nut flush for Gill. He flops it. Action checks around. Well, the irony is he's probably going to lose his action now because a 4-heart board is going to scare everyone else away.
Yeah, unfortunate no one even has a little whiff of interest because it's just so scary. Everyone else, I would guess, well, Timofeev, the only player with a proper hand, but, you know, happy to just check this down and see how things pan out. Going to try a bit of value here. He has got 2 players from his perspective, you know. There could be a chance to get paid off, but tricky. No, he checks it around again. Interesting. Maybe ultimately would turn out to be the best way to just try and lure someone in, but
inconsequential river card, the 5 of diamonds. Timofeev checks. Oh, wow. The guy with the 3 deuce of spades is going to try and bluff the river.
Yeah, and that's why I think maybe it was an incredibly smart check, that turn check from Gill, because you got to wait for someone to do something daft. Not that this is daft a lot of the time, but you get my point.
Jonathan Abdellatif takes a stab at it. And surely Gill has to raise here. You can't be sat there worrying that someone's got 9-10 of hearts.
Yeah.
Which is to say, while it would not be an illegal move for him to just call, it would be a bit nitty.
Yeah. But as you say, not illegal because it isn't the nuts right now. It's
and
just
also, he's not closing the action as well. He's still got Timofeev to act behind him.
true as well, yes.
I want to say like 2.8, 2.7.
There is the raise. 2 towers of yellow, and that, I think, is going to get 2 pretty quick folds. Timofeev is out. Can you imagine if Abdellatif shoved here and convinced him, convinced Gill that he had the straight flush?
I mean, your only other hope is that you're up against someone who maybe has the flush but hates the fact that it's 4 down. And it's one of those where if you did make a move here, it's very hard for someone without the ace to do something about it. Timing, good.
I would royally have to show it, you know?
He does not have a royal flush, but he is now 3rd in chips. He moves ahead of Abdellatif on the leaderboard. And the tweet I was going to read was Christopher Bean, who suggests that we could commandeer the squeaky trolley and give it away as a prize.
I like it. It's a little bit bulky. I don't know how we would get it to anywhere in the world. I was going to more simply give away one of our last card protectors and a dealer button. So 2 prizes up for grabs. What I'll do is, because we are in a unique situation, I'm going to set my alarm for 45 minutes time. And when any correct answers come in, I'll have a 10-minute period of gathering correct answers, and then we'll do a random spin. So it's one of the classic Matt Brown. You couldn't possibly know and probably never get it. But very simply, what character do I have on my socks today? Bingo. It's fictional. It's a fictional character. Hashtag PokerStars TV. I can't do this on Twitch. I'm just going to be watching Twitter. Simple as that.
So hand 49 of the final table, and we get a raise from Kenny Smaron with ace-3. King 10 for Timofeev on the button.
In case you're wondering, James, that's the character on my socks.
Not what I was expecting.
Exactly.
There you go. I'm just giving you a little
clue. Little clue. Not what James was expecting.
So Timofeev 3 bets to 325,000. The alarm has been set on Matt Broughton's Lady Watch.
Unbelievable. The funny thing is, though, I also miss the audience and being able to chat with them. It is nice to see these players' cards because we've been watching them for a few days now. Some of these guys have been on and off our feature table, and we have done our very best to try and picture what they might be up to. It's good to actually get a bit of closure, as it were, on the kind of players they are.
Oh, 4-bet alert.
Man, I must admit the ace-3 off was not the holding I expected to be looking for an air horn, which we don't have. You've got, where's your air horn, James? Told you, always keep it with you.
Tell you what.
As it's a special occasion, to make up for the lack of interaction, James will fire off his air horn.
Okay, so we're going to have a new 4-bet alert, ladies and gentlemen. And I appreciate that you're going to hear this one a little bit after the 4-bet happened, but in future, expect to hear this.
Well, that's not very impressive.
Hang on.
I think you've got your silence. Can you do it in the correct style of the taxis here in Panama? Could you give me the...
Sure.
Pretty good, actually. be honest, I think Joe's going to get a little bit of sound effect envy when he hears that belt out. Incidentally, Ken won that one with the re-raise, up to over 3 million again.
Oh, now they want there to be a 4-bet, so I can use that properly.
Yeah.
Ace-9 for Jonathan Abdellatif. Harpreet Gill with the decision in the small blind, facing a raise to 115,000. He's got Ace-7. He is dominated.
Yeah, but you know, four-handed with, you know, a player like Jonathan raising in a position like Jonathan is in, you can understand why the Ace-7 still appealing. And of course then, big blind priced in live cards. Very live cards.
Top pair for Abdellatif. Second pair for Smaron.
Backdoor hearts, all about the backdoor hearts for Gill.
Jonathan can comfortably c-bet into 2 opponents with top.
$190,000 from Jonathan. He looks a bit like a British World War II pilot in his little picture. Just going to throw it. You know what I mean? Good luck. Good luck, everybody. Nah. I guess the thing is, the shorter-handed and shorter-handed we get, that though this wouldn't necessarily always look like a super attractive spot,
Yeah.
is right now you've connected with the flop and you've got further backdoor draws, and these are the kind of slim connections that actually you have to start embracing and being a bit more happy to see. Of course, no time pressure just because of the fact everyone is so deep stacked, but not really surprised to see Ken Smaron come along here.
Heads up to the turn. 3 of hearts. So Smaron picks up the flush draw. Abdellatif is now a 3-1 favorite. Action's been checked to him a second time.
No such thing as a free river. 345,000 from Jonathan Abdellatif.
345,000. There was 745,000 in the pot when Abdellatif made this bet.
Getting the job done. Real close to Ken Smaron now. Just 95,000 between the two players. Kenneth Smaron still slightly ahead, but pretty tightly bunched. 2.85 million for Timofeev, 2.8 for Ken, 2.7.
I mean,
Jonathan. Yeah. It's just all tight as.
I've rarely seen a situation with 4 players remaining where they all have between 51 and 56 big blinds.
Yeah.
Incredibly even and pretty deep with the blinds not going up for another 75 minutes as well.
No, and with the departure of Wozniacek, he was like the only one of the players that tended to just go a bit foot down on the pedal.
Yeah.
I don't see any of these guys making big mistakes.
Well, here we have a situation where Abdellatif has opened with ace-queen. Gill has exactly the same hand, albeit of the club flavor rather than spades.
Still delicious, still delicious. It's just a matter of preference. And now, of course, rather than previously being stuck in a small blind on the button position, great starting hand for four-handed. And, you know, Jonathan Abdellatif, pretty aggro a lot of the time. Kind of the cocky guy at the table, playing lots of pots, chatting lots. So you probably think you're good here. Always interesting when you get good players playing the same hand.
That's a call from
Oh,
Abdellatif.
I got excited for a minute. I thought that was going to be further action. Come on, the flop. Oh, you're so disappointing to us. How can 3 cards be so disappointing? I'm sorry. I don't really want these guys to do a car crash. I'd much rather we had a winner through sheer play, but it is nice every now and then just to see the dynamics of the chip counts change.
So Gill is free rolling here. 95% of the time this hand will result in a chop. That's assuming that it goes to showdown, of course. Gill has running clubs working for him to win the pot outright.
I wonder if Abdellatif's going to try and drop the hammer here. We've seen him bluff a couple of times in this. To check raise in this spot would look great, or whether he just gives it up, or whether he takes another card. All options available. Gives it up. Just one very excited person.
So that sees Harpreet Gill take the chip lead. Yes, it's pretty even, but let's not forget, this was the guy who had like 20 big blinds for most of the first 2 hours of play. Now he's up to 61 big blinds, and he leads this final table.
Yep, I won't lie, I was clutching his little bio in my hand, thinking, well, if here's the next out, get out and chat to the guy, and here he is, rocking and rolling the last 4 in our final table. Eyes on the prize of $294,000. I've realized the people who are going to suffer the most from our delay, those going, what's the password? You're gonna have to make sure that you don't leave it too late to ask us that question. as it is, Cristobal, top left of your screen. But I think we might be a bit late on that one.
King deuce against ace jack. A 9-5-5 flop. Timofeev raise, small to big. Free roll starting in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm just hoping that somebody answered prior to us getting this 45-minute-old request.
Continuation bet of 110,000. And a fold.
Jonathan just consistently missing the flop completely. Not even a good reason to get kind of freaky.
So basically, we've played 52 hands at this final table, and at some point today, all 4 of the remaining players have had the chip lead. Meanwhile, this is not the only final table being played today. They are also 4-handed in the 10K high roller, which has been officially renamed the Beard High Roller, because apparently you need a beard to make the final 4. Chris Hunnichan, Steve O'Dwyer. It's also a very silent final table as well.
Yeah, they're very, very considered.
Francois Billard.
Bonjour.
And Sam Greenwood. And Philippe Ramos has been KO'd from that final table because he didn't have a beard.
Well, that's the thing. It's the hair roller. So you've got to get in there. It's like the Chinny Chin Chin Championships. Some people might remember one of the best games we've ever played. Some stops back in EPT days. A raise of 120 from Ken Smaron with the 8-9 off. Gets the call from Timofeev with the Queen Jack. And now Gill wants to look with the ace-6 off. And Abdellatif is off.
The flop is 8-7-4. Top pair for Smaron.
That's a good enough connection for Ken to take a pop at this. Gut shot in the overcard, the backdoor spades for Gill. 190. Worth taking one more card to see if a further improvement can be bought. Yeah, I think I'd be more tempted to call than raise here. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say, but you know, it's like sometimes you want to take control of the betting as well as, you know, I think, well, if it's good enough to call, maybe I should be more aggressive.
Well, he has paired his 6 on the turn.
Also, I wonder if by calling there, he slows things down. If he were to check here, whether he might get a cheaper river, or whether Smaron just wants to keep on pushing while he's potentially ahead.
Checks. Smaron checks behind. River card is a 9. So 2 pair for Smaron.
Yeah, one of those classic situations where you improve, but you kind of wish you hadn't with that card because it makes the board look oh so much more dangerous.
Just perusing my table in the free roll. I've managed to avoid you again, Matt.
Wow, we've run pretty good this week. Last free roll, boys and girls. Good luck.
Last chance to claim a bounty.
I guess by the time you guys hear this, there's a good chance big chunk of the crowd already be out.
Good chance that all 3 bounties will have been claimed.
A lot can happen in 45 minutes. And makes the call and gets it right. Nearly worked. And that's great news for Ken Smaron. Back to the top of the table, 3.48 million. A clear million, sorry, a cool million clear of Denis Timofeev. But again, everyone's so tight, everyone's so close. No one in danger, an hour on the clock.
Interesting tweet from Jonas Christensen, hashtag PokerStars TV, although remember we won't see it till 45 minutes after you send it. Jonas says, am I the only one who thinks Abdellatif is a bit too arrogant and maybe somewhat of an angler? I don't find him arrogant. I actually find him quite entertaining and actually quite personable. Also, I haven't seen him angle. On a couple of occasions, he's asked to see his opponents 2 cards at showdown, but hey, it's poker. Information is power.
It's funny, actually, our messages crossed because just before that tweet came in, I made a comment that he was like, you know, kind of the cocky player at the table. I must admit, I went through not being sure whether I liked him or not, and because there was a time yesterday where he seemed a little bit arrogant, but I've fallen on the side of liking him and liking his shtick.
No, that was for the Go, you want to Sorry,
Easy.
some social interaction.
Yeah, I don't think it's an angly thing.
I mean, it's good that you didn't.
I think it's his personality.
Dude, if there was a car behind that, that's fine. Like, there's no cars coming behind. It's crazy. It was fucking wild, dude. And rear wheel traction? Dude, I just wiped out. Like,
Boys and cars.
was it rear wheel or front wheel? My front wheel.
There is a hand underway as well, just in case any of the players are keen. Ace, Queen, 6, Rainbow. Ace has hit Gill. Queen has hit Jonathan. Well, that might work well for Gill. Now perhaps Jonathan Abdellatif finds it easier to believe this is for the taking with his queen.
What?
The one thing I will say about this game is we talk about patience and we talk about picking your spots and finding opportunities. The patience that Harpreet Gill showed during those first 2 levels today means that he has been able to cling on, then find the right opportunities, find the right spots, and actually put himself in contention to potentially get heads up. And he's just rivered quads.
Man, I mean, and you were going, well, you can't rep the aces anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so lovely that Jonathan called on the turn, because the message, of course, to Gill is, well, he didn't believe it on the turn, so go for it.
If he moves all in here, do you reckon Abdellatif can get away from it?
I don't know. I wouldn't expect him. It's not the sort of play we've seen from Gill, but I can imagine a sizable chunk.
Oh.
I mean, it's so tough.
You hate it, but you have to call, right?
I think so.
How would you ever fold a queen here?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Because you're the guy going, well, I'm folding to quads. Can I? He's gone for it. He had to call it.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, and it's no slow roll from Gill. Just quads, but no death. Sometimes life's good to you. And Harpreet Gill, Again, these four players just taking it in turns as Mr. David Peters looks on. Loving a bit of the pokers here in Panama. And Harpreet Gill up to 3.5 million. Just ahead now of Ken Smaron with 3.45. But again, even the shortest stack, Jonathan Abdellatif takes a kick there. But 22 bigs to play with.
So once this tournament concludes, that will wrap the Panama Championship. It's then off to Macau. Not for us, no live stream from Macau. But if you want to be there, you could qualify by searching Macau in the tournament lobby on Stars. At the City of Dreams in Macau, it runs from the 30th of March to the 9th of April. I think it's going to be a fun event. Maybe next year.
Very interesting location. Must say, somewhere I would like to have gone in my lifetime. Next year I'll be qualifying online. I'll be there. They'll be interviewing me, saying, how does it feel to take this down, having qualified for $10, and I'll answer as honestly as I can at the time. A race from Gill, who is just feeling like Johnny Big Coconuts right now.
Coconuts.
I've got to say, I'm also totally in love with the pace of play.
Yes.
And the fact that there's no one here that right now I would put my finger on and go, he's the best player. It's like all just totally competently bashing their way through this.
So this was opened by Gill on the button. 3-bet from Smaron in the small blind with the King 10. Gill has the best hand. Ace deuce.
I don't know. I don't know if he plays this one, does he? Does he keep playing these little aces? It's a sort of habit that can get you into trouble at some point or other. But of course he's on the button, so maybe he thinks his opponent under-reps his hand. Or does he even take the other approach and push back, start using this chip advantage? Why so serious? Why so much? It was 125,000 the opening raise. Remind you, we're at 25.50 incidentally with a 5k ante.
Yep.
So the 125 pretty standard. And then the re-race to 400,000, which is what's piquing Gill's interest.
Get your fill of Harpreet Gill. It's a thrill to see him spill his cards across the line.
Wow.
I want to see that in an hour. I should have pulled out. I should have fired. I know, it's good.
Kid's his shot. Oh, it's too much. Now, I was asking like, is it's easier to like slip with like real traction like on these oil spots. Like it doesn't happen that often. Like
maybe because of the rain.
yeah, the rain obviously does not help.
That dude was crazy. It was totally absurd.
No way. I'm not gonna look.
Don't, you'll only spoil it.
Easy win.
Take the gift. Just gratefully take the gift.
Yeah. This is a statistical anomaly.
And here comes hand 57. Those of you keeping track at home. Going to start with Ken Smaron here. Check 4 suited. $120 is the bet.
change deck, please? Possible to change deck? In the end of level? Okay, thank you.
For superstitious reasons, perhaps, he's not exactly been in the action much. Or is he just not like the thickness?
If I break one card, we change it now?
God, we better hope he doesn't accidentally break a card now.
Why is he so keen to change the deck? I mean, if there was a legitimate concern about a marked card or...
100K, I'll break one for you. That way you're in the clear.
100K?
100K, yeah. Not euro, dollar, but yeah. Two bigs.
100K
yeah.
chips.
Huh?
100K chips, you mean?
Two bigs? It's nothing, right?
Something for everybody here. It's middle pair and drawy for Gill.
Penalty for
Yeah.
Top pair and super drawy from Smaron.
chip dumping.
Oh, the world just gets better for Smaron. Trip jacks, flush draw. Gill suddenly leads the turn.
Yeah, and very fast to grab his chips and get it in there, make of that what you will, but that was a bit more pacey than his usual action.
And Smaron raises.
Is that 3? I thought it was 380, 340. .240 to call, makes the call. Big pot brewing here. It's not all over for Gill. What a tasty beverage. Don't go too crazy. Yes, I think that's quite a wise check there, Mr. Gill. Chances of Smaron extracting a chip out of Gill? Pretty slim.
Chunky bet on the river from Smaron. And seriously?
Well,
is he leveling himself into thinking that a 9 is good here?
No, I'm sure this is just buying himself a bit of credibility, a little bit of reputation play here. I mean, if he suddenly re-raised here, then he's changed into a new gear of crazy bonkersness. I think this is just play acting for fun.
I don't think it is. I actually think he's genuinely considering calling here.
Unless he thinks he's got some physical read on Smaron, I just don't get why you would think you're good.
Think Smaron's bluffing or value betting an ace.
He's just been
folded pre-flop. Fuck.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Can't beat a 7. Can't beat a jack.
Correct.
Can't beat an overbear.
correct.
What are you beating?
Exactly.
Got a 9.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, check.
So stuck.
Can't actually talk about the content of your hand. He
Oh,
calls.
wow, I am stunned. Huge misstep, and there was us, well, me, just having the whole conversation about there's no one here that looked likely to suddenly make a massive mistake, and this is huge.
But when you said, Matt, that you thought this was for show, I could tell it was genuine. He's not that good a performer, no offense. I could see that he was genuinely tortured, and I could see that he was considering calling off there, which he did, seeing Smaron catapult into the lead now with 4.8 million, and Gill drop down to 2.1 million.
That's a massive, massive lead.
Well, that changes everything.
Love changes everything.
Well,
James.
we talked about the fact that everyone was really tightly packed together, Matt.
Yeah.
The chip lead was changing regularly. Well, now Smaron has put some distance between himself and the rest of the players. He's got 97 big blinds. Second in chips right now is Denis Timofeev, who's got 53 big blinds.
Well, I mean, not like this. I wanted to see some dynamic change in the stacks, but I kind of was rather hoping it wouldn't be down to someone just walking into a landmine. He's still got so many chips. I just hope from a mental point of view it doesn't trip up Harpreet. Denis can't wait for a new deck to come along.
New deck Denis, they call him.
That's it. I always wonder why they called him that. Now we know. I've only got 9 minutes until my competition starts. I have to keep reminding myself, otherwise a bunch of really, really random tweets are about to appear, and I'm going to be like, what on earth are people doing shouting Mickey Mouse at me?
Thought for sure I outflop you there.
Good for me. Miguel, kijk een keer naar je telefoon, zeg.
Really good.
Kijk een keer naar die telefoon, zeg.
I've just done something horrible to one of our viewers.
Covering my fruit.
I just got it all in. I flopped 2 pair.
Yeah.
And they flopped the straight. I shoved all in. They got the straight. I made the full house on the river. I am so sorry. I way there. Sorry, but I mean that's horrible. Couple of big hands here. Ace Queen versus the Ace 7 suited. More than enough reason to go to war. Do you not have to take a flop at least here? Or is he preparing to do something way more exciting?
Попросить его пересесть.
is frozen. He's frozen in time. He's waiting for the delay, deciding whether to invest nearly $250,000 or whether to perhaps take control of this pot. What an unusual pause. Well, after a considerable consideration,
Give me service.
he has made the call and will be probably quite disappointed that he did.
Yeah, so this is a 3-bet pot. Action on the man with the pre-flop betting lead, Kenny Smaron, who still has the best hand with ace queen high. I mean, that call was big when you consider how many chips Abdellatif actually has left. I mean, I firmly expect him to fold here to this continuation bet, and he will be left with just 15 big blinds.
Yeah.
So he is now the short stack, and he is now in the danger zone.
Danger zone. Well, that was what I wondered when he went into that huge tank before calling, whether he was thinking maybe this is the all or nothing.
Yeah.
As it was a huge investment, did not pay off.
So Kenny Smaron wins another one, up over 5.2 million, more than 100 big blinds. Dominant chip leader at this four-handed final table.
I didn't know who he was, so I told him the truth.
45-minute shout out to Daniel, who's enjoying tea and Arctic roll. That sounds like a really good reason to fly all the way back to England. Tea and Arctic roll.
There are many reasons why I'm looking forward to flying back to England. Tea and Arctic roll weren't two of them, but I'll add them to the list.
Yeah, add them on the list.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's that perfect combination of a drink made of boiling water and a dessert made of frozen cream.
Oh, frozen cream.
Yeah.
Oh, you're watching PokerStars TV. Sorry.
That's fine, yeah.
So Smaron has raised the button with ace-7.
Short stack. Jonathan Abdellatif can't really afford to invest in lots and lots of these scenarios for too much longer. Gonna need a return at some point, otherwise he's just gonna be full stall in. Simple as.
Jack-10. Well, he's picked up the diamond draw, but it's top pair for Smaron.
This might be the one. Got 650,000 behind. If he put 120 and got the tour, that's 240. That's, you know, it. For the hand to carry on with any more betting he'd be lucky if Smaron lets him get a free card here, I would say.
So 100,000 is the continuation bet. I could see him check raising all in here.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the shove and
Insta call.
quick call from Smaron. So Jonathan Abdellatif is at risk and behind.
Diamantes.
He does have 38% equity, though.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, 9 ounce. Any diamond. Not much else to look forward to. No developing draws, just the diamonds, but 2 chances to hit.
No diamond. No diamond.
A little.
Clara, kill it on a turn.
You know what to do.
Без бубей, короче.
No help on the turn. Equity reduces to 20%. Same 9 outs. A diamond on the river needed, or we lose Jonathan Abdellatif in 4th place. The river card is not a diamond. He is gone. It is his first ever 6-figure score. He cashes out for $119,480 as Kenneth Smaron consolidates his chip lead up to $6 million now. A 2-to-1 advantage over Denis Timofeev, who's second in chips.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Just one big one. Thank you.
I was going for, wanted to make that extra 60K.
You got it, Gill. You got it. See, everyone has ignored James's hint. Everyone's coming with the Hulk, Superman, the Joker. James did say it's not what he was expecting. Tweety Pie says Pete the Blow. It's at least not what one might expect of my socks, but I've got a pretty good chance that this competition will live up to the full name, which is the You Couldn't Possibly Know, and will probably never get it. And if I give you a clue, it's going to take another 45 minutes for that to kick in. What was I thinking?
Dude, I need something to eat.
Would you like a chicken in a can?
Oh, no. Definitely not.
I took 2 bites of something.
Of all the things that we've discovered here in... Again, we need a list. We need to be forming a list of the things to refer back to.
I tried to call Rooster.
Chicken in a can is not a discovery that I ever want to refer back to.
You had a couple pineapples. That's it, yeah. Yeah, same here. I'm like starving.
Pineapples.
Hopefully I'll make it to the break. I'm eating for sure.
Can't make it through the whole day on a couple of pineapples. Enrique says Matt's socks contain Sonic the Hedgehog. Don't forget, I haven't got something in my socks other than my feet. There's just some character on the outside of them. I know, again, that this message isn't going to get through 45 minutes. Very hard to communicate.
This is the problem, is it's very difficult to give clues.
No, exactly, exactly.
I mean, generally, everyone's done exactly what I expected them to do. They've thought Marvel, they've thought DC, they've gone comic book, and that's where you've gone wrong.
The good thing is, if I do give a clue, if I say Ed Kilworth's kind of close, is that it doesn't spoil it for anyone because they've still got 45 minutes of guessing before they can even refer back and go, oh, my God.
That is true. Ed Kilworth is really close.
And, of course, now we just have to watch 45 minutes worth of people not knowing that Ed Kilworth was close. Ace-10 for Ken. Let's do it all again. Oh, actually, people have also just caught up with your 4-bet alert. Well, I thought it was really good. Enrique's not a fan of it. I thought it was one of the best 4-bet alerts we've had. Very dynamic, lots of different noises in there, something for everybody.
To be fair, the normal 4-bet alert would just be the foghorn.
Yeah.
Everything else that I threw in there was...
that was in tribute to Panama.
That was in tribute to a Panamanian radio station where the DJ just literally mashes every single sound effect on his soundboard for several hours.
I think we were only in the car for 6 minutes, but it did feel like 6 hours. Zodiac says it has to be Scooby-Doo. Why? Why does it have to be Scooby-Doo? Are they the only socks manufactured? A bit of 175 here with the ace high. But the good news is Timofeev has just got a bit of a draw to get excited about. Not much else right now. Going to take a look at a turn. It's a 3.
I don't know if you've seen this Photoshop that Robert Ross has done of Joe as a Star Trek character. The problem is Joe's head is so big that he looks like a Thunderbirds puppet.
Maybe he did the Photoshop after Joe won the American Poker Award.
Oh, big head.
Yeah, I thought you'd not really reacted to it, but I thought I'd give you another couple of minutes. Kenneth Smith comes in with the plastic Ono band. Well, I mean, that is certainly thinking outside of the socks. See what I did there? Thanks.
Outside of the socks.
Yeah. I'm reduced to having James make that noise when Joe makes one of his puns on the TV and you go, 10 on the river.
It's actually a 3 on the turn.
Well,
Timofeev takes over the betting here, 375,000.
is that guy sitting uncomfortably or just desperate to get in the shot? Because that can't be comfortable. You can't sit like that for an hour and, you know, you're back in. Elizabeth's asking me if it's a Doctor Who character in 45 minutes' time. You'll hear me say no.
Smaron calls with ace high, which is still the best hand.
His spider sense must just be tingling. Now he is horribly outdrawn. Now Denis won't want a new deck of cards. He'll be like, these are my favorite cards ever. Perhaps.
Having rivered the straight and having taken the betting lead on the turn, we can expect him to fire river. There is near enough 1.5 million in the middle. There is Denis's partner. Saw them both at breakfast this morning.
May I compliment you, James Hudson, on your incredible consistency across this trip. You've hit the pool, you've hit the breakfast, you've made full use of the facilities before every day of work. Not easily done.
The pool is too good not to use every morning.
And I've gone exactly against character and actually sacrificed breakfast for the gym.
What's that about?
I don't know. Clearly a midlife crisis.
You're not following Joe's fad diet and refusing to eat breakfast, then?
The thing is, you know from the conversation we've had before, I'm not generally much of a breakfast person. It's only when we're here on tour, I suddenly go for a full English breakfast, a plate of pineapple, 6 rounds of croissants. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't do it normally. So actually not having breakfast is pretty standard for me. For Joe, it's a way of life now. Got to work out how much value he thinks might possibly be up for grabs here.
Yeah, he's been thinking about this for some time.
Yeah.
I guess he's hoping for a repeat of the Jack on the river situation. We decides to move all in, and Smaron doesn't even think about heroing with an ace.
Interesting option.
So how has that changed things? Well, it has narrowed the gap, certainly between Smaron and Timofeev. Kenny's got 110 bigs, 70 bigs for Denis. Harpreet Gill has 37 big blinds.
Wow. Well, I said I wanted a dynamic range of chip stacks on the table. I've certainly got that. A bit earlier than I was expecting.
I just realised that there is actually a realistic prospect this competition runs for another hour. And that's just made me a little bit sad.
I think this is going to go all day. You'll notice how I started the competition at the very beginning of my 2-level stint. Because I've got to wait for this to, like, peter out, give another clue, and then let round 2 ensue. I can tell everyone in the future that it's not a video games character. It's not a Simpsons character, not a Doctor Who character. That should get a lot. And as I say that, or not as I say that, but 45 minutes after I say that, Christopher Bean's got Blanca from Street Fighter. So anything like that, for round 2 of Matt Brown's, you couldn't possibly know and probably get it, never get it. Extreme Edition is what we're calling this. Loving this. A raise from Smaron with the ace-4 suited, and Gill has got the pocket 10s.
Wow, that's a huge shove.
That is a huge shove.
It's nearly 40 big blinds.
It makes it very easy for Smaron to get away. The thing is, it's the sort of thing where ordinarily we would just scream jacks. Turns out it's 10s, but close enough.
Thing is, I don't mind it. Just
no. Strange.
Well, you've been outflopping me and shit.
I don't recall ever playing a hand worse.
Well, I say I don't mind it. The irony is, you're going to fold out everything you're beating, and you're only going to get called by hands that are crushing you. So it ain't great, but I can understand the mindset where having lost that huge pot where he's played through the streets, maybe against these guys, Gill thinks his best chance is to increase variance and take a shot.
Absolutely, because otherwise you go, I make a standard re-raise here. I make a standard raise, somebody re-raises me and I hate it. Or I raise, I get called, I don't connect, there's overcards. I'm now playing against a really good player. So sometimes...
All right, pump the brakes, buddy.
Maybe it just makes sense. It's a walk.
So with Jonathan's elimination, we have these 3 players. Kenny Smaron currently has the chip lead, and he's running pretty well. Picks up jacks on the button. He raises. Gets called by Gill with 7 deuce. Oh, hello. Top set against a flush draw.
It's like we want something bad to happen.
I don't want something bad to happen, but it's like that flop spells calamity for someone.
No, sounds like you're agreeing with me while not agreeing with me.
I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just not agreeing with you.
Well, that, again, still sounds like an argument.
Well, I really hope, for Gill's sake, that he doesn't hit his spade on the river, because he is now officially drawing dead. It's a full house for Smaron, who checked back the flop, and now Gill leads the turn for 175,000. Smaron just calls. Well, I can't see him blasting off with a deuce. Rivering bottom pair doesn't normally... Oh, okay. He's betting.
Well, things have suddenly got slightly less predictable.
So is this going to be a repeat of the last hand these guys played against each other, where Smaron now raises river? I'm pretty sure he's going to do that with his full house. And Gill levels himself into thinking that a deuce could be good.
Well, I'm sure he's... I mean, the problem is now you don't know what compensations Gill will make incorrectly.
Yes.
Because of that misstep. Is his instincts have got him down to the last 3. So I think a couple of big hits shouldn't necessarily shake you to your socks. What's on them? Yeah, I guess that's going to be going through Smaron's head now whenever he wants to try and extract value. Is do you get greedy or do you need to calm things down?
So the raise is to 900,000, an additional 675K. And once again, Matt, I don't think this is a performance. I think he's seriously considering calling.
Well, you nailed it last time, Mr. H, so...
Oh, the squeaky trolley's back.
Oh, God. Quickly, better get hold of Jonathan. He'll be out there with a stick.
It reminds you of the opening scene in GoldenEye. Remember when he's walking across the floor with the tanks of chemicals?
Yes, yes. I mean, the thing is, if you've seen the guy with the trolley, you'll know that he's not moving at light speed either. It's not like he's thinking, this is annoying, I must get to my destination quickly. He's just sauntering along. If he went at proper speed, probably the wheels wouldn't squeak.
But where's he been for the rest of the week? It's the first time he's appeared. It's today.
Well, it's delivery day. Clearly, Monday is delivery day. Is it Monday?
I actually think I'm good.
Did he just say, I think I'm good?
Yes.
Oh, dear. I wonder if, thinking about what you said, James, about the way you play those 10s, in that he thinks maybe I'm outclassed here,
Yes.
three-handed, and I need to just reduce the skill. Whether he overly thinks he's being bullied and picked on and outplayed, and that's why he's trying to find spots here.
That's an excellent point.
It's just his timing is so horrible. Unfortunately. Play on PokerStars.
Got tripped again.
2.5 minutes of not making a dreadful decision.
So when he bet the river, he was making a super thin value bet.
I think so. I think he thought, I'll make the bet here, and this gives Ken a whole bunch of reasons to get away.
I mean, he nearly folded there, and now he's gone back for chips. He's so tortured.
The thing is, the bet was fine on the river, but you've now got your answer. And if you're just going to level yourself into thinking, no, this pro's picking on me, good for you, sir.
I'm so glad he folded.
Me too. I mean, and Harpreet, Gill, don't forget these guys have been playing so deep. He's still got 32 big blinds, 20 minutes on the clock, but 32 big blinds. That's really all you got to worry about is how effective your stack is. It doesn't matter that the other guys are monsters. I incidentally just got knocked out of the free roll by a royal flush.
Wow.
Yeah. Look, I flopped a straight, and the guy had the king, queen of hearts. It was NS bucket, 10, jack, queen, king, ace of hearts.
I also got knocked out of the free roll. Guy called my all-in with jack 6, and it beat my ace king.
Typical. Play on PokerStars. Congratulations, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the free rolls. Is Joey still alive? No, Joey's not still alive. No. Well, that's it then. I know in 45 minutes you'll hear something you already knew, but we're all out. Enjoy the bounties.
Ace king for Timofeev.
Anything worth fighting with around the table? Ken's coming along with the ace-9. Ordinarily super premium three-handed, but in trouble here. And now look at that.
Yeah, he has paired his 9. It's the nut flush draw for Timofeev. Continues for 125,000. Smaron calls. 8 of hearts. That is the nut flush.
Good lord.
The number of people tweeting Homer Simpson is just going up and up and up. And the irony is, had that been the answer, you would have given it to the first person to answer Homer Simpson.
Actually, I did say that I would pull a number. Do you remember I said I'd give a 10-minute window of opportunity?
So this is a classic exercise in groupthink.
The hive mind in action.
A bet of 255,000 and a fold from Smaron. Timofeev's other half. He's now playing 74 big blinds. Kenneth Smaron around 110 bigs. Harpreet Gill hovering around the 30 big blind mark. As Matt referenced, this level is coming to a close. 17 minutes from now, we'll be heading on break again.
Did you say that Smaron's girlfriend's name was Sharon or Karen?
I don't know anything about Smaron's.
Oh, okay. I'm just speculating on whether Kenneth Smaron and his girlfriend Karen Sharon. I'm just trying to work it together. Can't believe Ken's parents didn't call him Darren. I mean, it's just there for the taking. A lifetime of joy. Sorry, I'm back.
That's all right.
Annoyingly, her name is Katrina.
That's Denis's wife.
That's Denis's wife. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I do apologise. When we went to look at that lady, sorry,
Yes, Denis's other half.
Sorry.
That's why I was confused.
Right, that all makes sense. Well done, everyone. Good game. GG.
Can we chop that out of the delayed bit? Yeah.
Just put in like a tone, or just like, whoa! Just anything better than me.
Do you know what? There's a very good chance that happens on the broadcast.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's part 1 of the podcast. I'll say it just popped up. It just burst back into life. Oh, hello.
5s against 6-7. So Gill's still ahead for now, but it's practically a flip. Timofeev with the open-ended straight draw, plus 2 live cards.
That sounds like a hand to me. 150 from Gill, who did attempt to play this aggressively pre-flop. There's just too much there for Denis. Too much of a good reason to stick around. Just depends if he wants to try and play it more aggressively or just go for maximum milkage. Fingers crossed.
Calls the 150. Jack on the turn, doesn't change much.
Just more cards arriving for Harpreet Gill to hate.
Check, check, and a queen on the river. Now, if Denis were to bluff this river, Gill would have a very hard time calling with just a pair of 5s.
This is a spot where I could accept if Denis bet here and Gill folded that you'd show the bluff, because you get the sense that Harpreet is like starting to lose the plot a little bit here on the table, outthinking himself. I know Lee Jones would immediately call in on Skype and shout at us, but
why is showing the bluff a bad thing?
oh, showing any cards is a dreadful thing that involves lots of being punched in the arm and leg and falling off chairs.
See, I don't agree with that. I think in the live game, occasionally showing cards to inform the action later on is a legitimate tactic.
Well, look, sitting here in Panama with you, I agree. When I was locked in a coffin with Lee Jones for 48 hours, I just said yes to anything he said.
Matt, he's
oh, no, you're right. Oh, my God, it's dreadful. What's he thinking, Lee? Oh, unbelievable. Path of least resistance, very much the case for me. And here comes the bongo bluff.
Under pair.
Man,
Under pair.
nice bet. 600,000, nearly pot-sized.
Yeah, and he snap folded there.
Yeah, just such a horrible spot.
So just to clarify, it wasn't that long ago we were declaring that Harpreet Gill...
all overboard, like 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, at pocket 5. Can't call.
So Gill was chip leader with 4 players remaining, and now he's edging towards being a short stack again with 25 big blinds.
Yeah, and that is going to start becoming a hindrance, and especially in 13 minutes when we hit a break and then come back with blinds up yet again.
Smaron raising here with King 4. Gill shoves from the big blind. Ace 10.
Yeah, don't think, even though it's a small stack now, I don't think that's going to get paid off, and it does not.
I don't know. I don't like playing pocket against you. So you're gonna have to flip it.
No one on planet Earth.
You're gonna have to flip it.
Except Dennis over here.
If I have as much chips as you, then I'll play a pot
Except
with you.
Dennis.
You'll have to flip it.
What?
Said you don't like playing pots with me. Post flop, I said no one does, except Dennis. You know, okay. No one wants to play post flop hands with me. I said no one does except you.
No, I'm sorry. Run it by me again.
Are you happy about this?
Huh?
Are you happy about this?
You're happy about it. Everybody's happy right now. Well, I'm not satisfied, but I'm happy.
It's not enough that you're happy. Everyone else must be unhappy.
All right. Go ahead, guys. Have fun.
I don't like playing pots with you either.
So it's the suited 5-6 versus Jack Deuce. Deuce connects. Gut shot for Gill. Backdoor hearts. He checks. Ace of diamonds. I wonder if Denis is starting to think his deuce is actually good enough.
Gill can't pull the trigger, can he?
No.
And Timofeev's going to win this at showdown. A deuce is good, but I'm not sure he's calling a bet with it.
No. Cheap enough. I don't know if the best hand won or the worst hand lost, if you get my meaning.
A bit from column A, a bit from column B. So yeah, Gill, 25 big blinds. Timofeev closing the gap between him and Smaron. Well, that's going to be a pretty epic heads-up duel. Should it go that way? I know a lot of...
Yeah, you'll find out.
There's a lot of
I'll tell you
potential...
you certainly didn't have the best hand.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what I had, but
Okay.
that's 100% guaranteed.
Okay. I just hit the river. I missed the flush draw.
That's 100% guaranteed.
Okay.
I wish the flush hit.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's by no means guaranteed. I'm not saying that Gill is out of this, but obviously, statistically, most of the time it's going to be Smaron versus Timofeev heads up. And that, I think, is going to be a quite interesting battle should it occur, especially after that hand they played yesterday.
I agree with you entirely. Ace-Jack for Smaron, the raise 175. Timofeev with the ace-deuce suited. Let's take a flop. Aces and clubs would be fun.
There's a deuce, and that's about it.
Wow. It's not really what I was looking for.
$175,000 apiece. Four pairs on the turn.
Checks it back.
And Smaron pairs his jack on the river.
Well, I mean, there are checks and there are checks. I was wondering if the 10 on the turn would give Denis the impetus to bet out his deuce. Didn't go for it in the end.
That's fine.
Smaron closing in on the 6 million mark once again.
I don't think you could win that. It's shot.
Ace Queen raises it up.
Small to big.
3x. 3x the BB. Harpreet Gill's going to take a look with the Ace Queen. Sorry, the Queen 10, should I say.
Luckily for him, it's not a Queen high flop, it's a Jack high flop. Action goes check, check. Oh, he's open-ended now. Might call this tickler from Timofeev, 125,000, sure enough. And the river is a 7.
Disappointing.
But not unexpected.
No.
Check to showdown, ace queen good. Gill loses another hand and drops below the 20 big blind mark.
As we receive one of the hardest to respond to tweets ever, Joe says simply, wow. Now, lots of things have happened in the last 45 minutes. Are you wowing at maybe my losing to a raw flush? Was there a hand you particularly liked? We just don't know.
Maybe it's the revelation that you're wearing socks.
That's true, but I don't have a reputation as a non-sock wearer. I'm not sure I'm keen on that fashion of young men going out with just their slip-on smart shoes and no socks. It just seems ill-advised. Good news is I got at least 22 minutes before my hint for the competition actually gets to anyone. So this literally, I mean, it's a good job everyone's so well deeply stacked in chips, because it's going to take at least 10 hours a heads up for me to actually get this competition wrapped up.
So coming up in 5 minutes time, part 3 of Poker in the Ears and Eyes Panama edition. Remember, part 1 has gone AWOL. We will see Andres Korn take on Joe in a soccer-themed game of Superfan versus Stapes.
And don't worry if you're not a soccer fan, there's something for you too, because there are always Joe's questions.
Smaron now has a lock on this hand.
Trolley anyone?
Oh.
That'll be all the chicken in a can arriving for tonight's dinner.
And you thought the chairs in Prague were bad.
Oh, the musical chairs. Quite literally, the tooting musical chairs.
Wow, word reached us from the floor that they got rid of the old squeaky trolley, and this is a new trolley that's even squeakier than the old one.
I was going to say, that was a whole new level. I was thinking, God, that really is falling apart. To find out that that's the one they chose.
So Timofeev has decided to bluff this river. Remember, he was the pre-flop aggressor, raised it to 110,000. He continued flop for 125,000. Check, check on the turn, and his bluff is called on the river. Smaron wins a big pot and is up to 6.4 million.
Wow.
Yes, baby, let us go indeed.
Somehow doesn't quite work coming from you, James.
So in 2.5 minutes' time, when this level ends, the blinds will be put up to 30,000, 60,000. We might be in a situation where Harpreet Gill will just be open shoving again.
Gill running out of options. Let's not forget that Timofeev is very much waiting for the new deck. So
Oh, yes.
he had his eyes on the clock there rather than on Ken. Ken really, I noticed, has been studying Denis very, very closely in the face region. Whereas Denis seems more interested in just dragging out the next 54 seconds so he can get a new deck. Very hard to imagine why he would care other than pure superstition. Unless he has a phobia about red cards and that he is internally screaming throughout the last level.
Oh, I don't know about you, Matt, but they haunt me in my dreams.
For sure. I mean, if this gets to 0 seconds and he folds, then we'll know that it's just the deck. 7, 6, no. Oh, yeah.
Smart strategy, I like it.
It was. He just wants the deck. He really was just waiting out the level for a new deck. God bless him.
Dude, you know what?
So that brings this level to a close. When we come back, blinds up to 30-60 and the ante doubles to 10K. We are going to color up some chips. Luca bringing in some more of the whites, some more of the 100K chips. And you can see that Harpreet Gill is back in the danger zone.
Danger zone.
With just 15 big blinds, while Kenneth Smaron leads with more than 100 big blinds. So enjoy Poker in the Ears and Eyes, part 3 of now 2. And we'll be back with more live poker from the PokerStars Championship Panama main event in just under 20 minutes' time. You are watching